Good morning to all my friends and family, and welcome to this episode of my YouTube channel named Jim's 5am Club. As you can see, the mornings are slowly but surely getting darker. The temperatures are getting cooler, less balmy in the morning. And we are experiencing a change in season. Just like every year, autumn follows summer, and summer follows spring, and before we know it, we'll have winter in our hearts, in our minds, and in our lives. What I'd like to do today is go through a book summary like I normally do on Jim's 5am Club and examine a book which is entitled Wintering. And it basically talks to us and it details the whole impact that the seasons have in our lives and how each season has a purpose. Each season is there for a reason. Each season deserves to be appreciated, embraced, and leveraged, because that is what life's all about. Each day goes through a cycle. Each week goes through a cycle. Each year goes through a cycle, and eventually our whole lives are one great and important cycle. I remember at my youngest daughter's wedding dancing the father-daughter waltz with her and dancing to a song, a Greek song, a very, very old Greek song named Asta ta Malakisu, which roughly translates into English, let your hair flow. And it's a song which basically reminds us about the seasons of our life, that we start our lives in springtime, move on to the summers, the beautiful summers in our lives, and then as the years pass, we grow older, we have our families, we enter the autumns of our lives, which eventually will lead us to the winters of our lives, which are the later years as we age, mature, gain our wisdom, and self-actualize. And it's a song which basically says, make the most of the years that you have available to you. You'll be young, you'll be vibrant, but those years will slowly but surely pass. But each season, each time of your life is valuable. It has valuable lessons, it has valuable relationships, and these seasons, these times need to be leveraged, need to be embraced, need to be accepted in order to live a full and fruitful life. So as you can see, it's another beautiful, beautiful morning. As I said, it's a lot darker now than what it was a few months ago. Things will lighten up again once we artificially institute daylight savings, where we'll get up an hour later and feel as if we are experiencing a different season. But the reality is that it's an artificial experience. But once again, we'll learn how to use it. We'll learn how to make the most of it. So without any further ado, let's take a journey of learning, of discovery, of appreciation, and go through this book summary, which is entitled, as I said, Wintering by Katherine May. And And as we said, it's a book which takes us on a journey to discover the beauty and the purpose of wintering, the impact that it has on the animal kingdom around us, and to give us some lessons that we can incorporate into our lives to leverage the moments that come our way, the good moments and the not so good moments. So the author kicks off the book with a quote, an interesting quote, where she says that we have seasons where we flourish and seasons when the leaves fall from us, revealing our bare bones. The important lesson, of course, though, to come from this is that given time, the leaves will grow again, will grow back again, and we'll get to relive our lives in a different version, but we get a chance to go through the cycle again and again and again through our lives. The author also reminds us that life is like a roller coaster, and we've heard that time and time again through our lives. But we need to understand and to appreciate and to make the most of the highs and the lows, as we said before, in order to live a full life, which enables us to appreciate either end of the spectrum. And the pendulum will swing for each and every one of us. We will have our good times, we'll have our bad times. But within our lifetime, all of those allotments of highs and lows, goods and bads, are designed to enable us, as we said, to experience the richness of God's gift, of God's creation, so that we experience the good, the bad, the ugly, because each of those experiences enable us, as we said before, to live a full and complete life. You know, we can't have summers every day of our lives, because if it was summer every single day, if it was a perfect sort of day every single day, then you'd never ever get to appreciate the good days, because they would become irrelevant. They would blend into each other, and you would no longer receive the dopamine hit. You would no longer receive that sense of excitement when you experience something which you feel is new again. So the author then goes on to tell us that animals, all animals, get to face a winter, a time of hibernation, a time of darkness, a time of coldness, where they get to experience harshness in all its harshness, in all its darkness. But the important thing to understand, and the animal kingdom, I guess, appreciates this instinctively, that given time, spring it will be just round the corner, and it's something to look forward to. But winter, for most of the animal kingdom, especially in those harsh climates, is a time of hibernation, is a time of bunkering down, is a time of seclusion, protecting yourself, reflecting, building up your energy stores, and preparing yourself for the good times that lay ahead. So the big message, I guess, from this author is to understand that these things happen and they're a part of life, and we need to make the most of it. So her first formal point to come from this book, and I'll try and pick out 3 key points to chat about. so that we gain something from this book. So the first of the 3 points that the author makes in terms of the theme, the message, and the purpose of this book is that during the winters of our lives, we need to basically use them, to leverage them, to bunker down, and to understand that there was a time before artificialdom, before we had artificial light, we had artificial power, where the winters of our lives were when we were deprived of daylight. As soon as the sun went down and it was dark, basically was the end of the day. Whereas these days with electricity, as you can see, with all the lights sparkling around Sydney, we are able to turn night into day and to have an artificial daytime. Whereas in times gone past, a couple of 100 years ago, when we didn't have electricity, we'd have small sources of light, candle light, for example, which you'd use sparingly. You wouldn't use it to light up a city or to light up your life. And you basically use night to sleep, to relax, to reflect, and to do other things. So there was a time before industrialization when humans made the most of their nighttime, where people slept more. And it wasn't all that bad at the end of the day, because it was used to replenish your energy stores. You slept more, people were more calm, people were more reflective, and people learned how to grow stronger and to look forward and prepare and plan for the good times, for the next season, for the springtime in their lives. The other thing that the author talks about, and we're talking about the second formal point to come from this book, was where the author talks about the importance of these low temperatures and winter times, because they can help us enhance our mental and bodily strength, as we said before, by bunkering down, by doing less, enables us to build and refresh our mental stores, our spiritual stores, and our physical stores. And to understand that animals don't fear winter. They learn to embrace it. It's a time to enjoy solace, to spend less time stressing about what's going on around us. And as we said before, we understand that the seasons in our life, the cycles in our life, help prepare us incrementally for the tough times. We don't go from summer to winter. We've got an autumn in between, and we don't go from winter to the heat of summer, because we've got a springtime in between, and all of these things help stage the next cycle, help stage the next season to get us prepared mentally, physically, spiritually, and to help us slowly and incrementally build up to the next season. The author here also talks to us about the importance of each of these seasons and reminds us that swimming in cold water actually increases our dopamine by up to 25%. Cold actually helps us feel alive, feel awake, and many work environments have the air conditioning artificially set at a colder level to keep us more alert and vibrant. There are certain cultures that I've read that actually have words which describe the vibrancy and the good feel that you get from taking a walk in the winter wind, in the cold winter, where the wind buffets your face. But of course you're covered up, you're wearing some warm clothing, but just taking a brisk walk in a cold wind can have a positive and enhancing and empowering impact on one's life. We need to understand that, as inevitable as it is, difficult times will occur in our lives, and we can use them to our advantage when we learn how to respond to these in an empowering and a positive way. Tough times will come to us in our lives, but we need to understand how to respond to them in a productive way, and to know that better times are coming. Now, we will get an allotment of tough times. We all will get an allotment of trouble in our lives. Last week, I too got my allotment of COVID-19, where I was knocked off work for a week. But we all get a turn by the looks of it, regardless of whether or not we're triple vaxxed and we're looking after ourselves. Sooner or later, COVID will find us. But we all need to understand that, we'll go through it, we'll suffer it, and for most of us, we'll get through it and we'll experience better times. So the last point to come out of this book, the last formal point to come out of this book, is where the author tells us that life isn't a long, continuous summer. So we need to learn how to deal, to appreciate, to embrace the winters of our life. And that our life, as we mentioned before, comes in seasons, in bursts, and it helps us. It's there to serve us, to help liberate us, because each season, as we said, has a spin, has a purpose, and it's up to each and every one of us to draw out the spirit and the purpose of each season, and to use it to prepare and to leverage and to get us ready for the next stage of our life. Because one thing I've learnt in my life, and it's a great message that comes from this book, is that by accepting what happens to your life, by accepting what life thrusts at you, is the day that you mature and grow. We need to learn how to resist and to fight against resistance. We need to fight against our ability to resist what life has to give us in order to mature and to make the most of the winters and the ever spinning wheel, the cycles which come and go through our lives. The author also reminds us that it's important to learn how to acknowledge our feelings and to acknowledge what is going on around them, but also not only to acknowledge it, but to embrace it with a love to enable us to experience all the things that life has to give us at a depth and a breadth, to make the most of it, to live life at its fullest, to not push back, to not try and sidestep, to not try and outrun or to hide from, but to boldly embrace it and to face it head on, and to experience it in all its glory, in all its depth, in all its breadth, in all its harshness. Because by experiencing life at its worst or its best, gives us an opportunity to live the to live life, I guess, at its finest and its highest, at its extreme, I guess, is the best way of putting it. So we need to acknowledge our feelings and feel them at all their depth, so you get to embrace what's coming next rather than fearing and living in fear, uncertainty and doubt. So the author, as a call to action, asks us to welcome difficulty, because it's through these difficult times that we ultimately learn about ourselves, become closer and more connected to God, and basically live our version of life. As we said, each of us will have a different past. Each of us will experience a different present. I'm here, you're somewhere else. And each of us are going to experience a different future. And our lives are going to be full of slithers of reality, which are going to be different to other people's slithers of reality. We need to understand it. We need to embrace it. And of course, we don't need to fight it. We need to welcome it, according to this author. So let me head back down the end here. I'll head back to work. I'm working at Mascot today, and a typical day for me is to wake up at 4:45, shower, shave, drive to the bus stop, hop on a bus, and I leave home half an hour earlier than what I would normally leave, so I can come down here to Circular Quay and deliver a 5 a.m. club for my YouTube channel, and to experience the pre-dawn of another beautiful, magical, mystical Sydney autumn day. It's still, it's crisp, but it is absolutely beautiful, and it's something that I love. I love doing, and I love sharing with my friends and family. So once again, thank you very much for joining me on this episode of Jim's 5 a.m. Club, where once again I've learned something new, and I've reinforced it by teaching and passing it on and living my purpose, which is to live, learn and pass it on, and to try and incorporate new learnings, OPE, other people's experiences in my life, so I can add to the slithers of experience that I have, and I can leverage other people's experiences, because at the end of the day, we've only got one life to live. We can't be everywhere at the one place at the one time, but we can, through the beauty of technology, through the beauty of books, book summaries, vlogs. We can learn from other people's experiences and take those and overlay them, modulate them, incorporate them into our life, and make our life a tapestry, a Lego, where we can add more and more bits to, so that we can enjoy life to its extreme, to its fullest, to its highest of highs, and to understand it and experience it in its lowest of lows, thereby living a full and complete life and not missing out and getting to the end of our lives and not knowing what our life was all about, because it's all a part of self-discovery. So take care, have a wonderful Tuesday, and I look forward to coming to you again from a different place, from a different location, where I am able to showcase and highlight the beauty of this country that I live in, or wherever I am, and to overlay it with a message of empowerment from the many books and the many book summaries that we have available to us on the internet, in the libraries, and to build our skills, build our capabilities, and build our community. Take care, everybody. Yassas. Bye for now. And it's Jim from Jim's 5am Club signing off on another morning and wishing you the greatest on this particularly beautiful day. Bye for now.